Just left Chipotle, just got word that we got a package delivered at the house for the S650 Mustang. So let's go check it out. And over there at McDonald's, there's a Grabber Blue S650. That is the color I actually originally ordered, but then I saw the red one and I had to buy it. Just got back after messing around with a C63S on the highway, but this part right here is going to help us whine like a Hellcat. This is the VMP carbon fiber intake kit for the stage 1, which I have obviously. So we're gonna rip this thing open and I'm gonna show you guys what it's all about. Because right now, this rubber intake is restricting the whine because rubber absorbs some sound and it's not pronouncing the whine, which I will do it before and after. Sorry to the neighbors, not really. We are gonna rev the car a little bit in the garage so we can get some of the whine. Pretty good packaging. We got all the couplers here. We got all the black clamps, which look really good actually. And then that is for our PCV, I think. So yeah, pretty good packaging. We're gonna open this thing up. So we're outside. Here's the VMP stage 1 intake. Actually, the VMP stage 1 and 2 are the same, just comes with different couplers for the intake throttle body. But this thing in the sun looks really, really good. It does have a little bit of some swirls and scratches, which I'm not really too fond about. As you can kind of see it, the clear coat's a little scratched up. So I don't know, this isn't sponsored or anything. I actually paid for this. So I'm a little kind of disappointed. Maybe we'll buff out a little bit with some light polish, which we'll do when it's on the car. As you like, look at all that. But anyways, it does still look super, super good. The inside's a little bit dusty. So we're gonna clean that out before we put this on the car. But so far it looks pretty good. I like it. I mean, hopefully some of these swirls buff out. Like I was saying, there was dust inside of the carbon intake. This is everything that came out of it. It is now clean after all that. But if you didn't check, all of that stuff would have went right into the whipple, right into the motor. So now it is clean, but like I was saying, there was a bunch of swirls on it, right? Inside, it's just super cloudy. Like you can't even tell that it's carbon fiber. Like look at all that. Outside, it's swirly and it's super cloudy. Kind of disappointed in that, especially when you pay a premium price. We will buff it out. I do have the tools to buff it out, so shouldn't be an issue. Let's throw this thing on. I'm gonna get some rev clips right now of just how it is with the hood open and closed. From those videos, you can hear it take on air, but you don't really hear like a whine like a Hellcat. You just kind of hear it like suck in the air and a little whine, but not like an intense whine. We're going to now put on the carbon intake and increase that whine because right now the rubber kind of just absorbs the sound. The carbon intake is kind of like this guy that I watched. He said it's kind of like a horn. It will kind of like project the sound out more. I'm excited to see. Let's throw this thing on. We're just gonna remove the intake covers here. I'm not gonna go too in-depth in the install. It's pretty self-explanatory. We're just gonna unscrew all these clamps, take this thing off, and disconnect this, screw in the new connector on the carbon one, which they provide, which is awesome, and then we should be good to go. So I'm gonna get this off, just undo these 3 band clamps, undo this, and should be good. If you are having problems with this, all you do is have to push this in and it will come off both sides. Probably need 2 hands, but it is sliding off. I loosened all the band clamps. They're all loose. It's not budging, so I'm gonna take the 10mm bolts out here. It might just be easier to remove everything at one time with these intakes. It might just be easier to do that and then disconnect them kind of when they're out of the boxes. So we'll try that. I'll keep you updated. With removing these 10mm bolts, you're able to pull the whole intake up and it is coming off the throttle body. So it looks like that's gonna come off first. And then we'll be able to take these parts off kind of when this is more up in the air and out of the throttle body. So make sure you do these 10mm bolts. It's a lot easier. So this is my first look without the intake, and there's the pretty big throttle body, 91mm. This is from the GT500. If you have the stage 2, you get 112 or 120mm throttle body, which is absolutely insane. That intake hides a lot of junk, hides all these hoses and stuff, especially all that stuff down there. We got the old intake off, good to go. Here is the new VMP carbon fiber intake. We're gonna put this, screw this in over here. It's metal, nice touch. They actually added that, which is nice. And here is this, the bigger side goes onto the intake and then the smaller side goes onto here. So what's a really nice touch is that they put a flat piece here. It kind of like dips down so you can put the band clamp and tighten it. So that's a really nice touch. So it's flat and flush on all 3 sides. So let's put this thing on and enough yapping. And these things are really nice too, actually, the black clamps. Alrighty, we got it mocked up and man, this looks super, super good with this Extreme Online Store carbon fiber radiator cover. Got it mocked up right now. We're gonna throw on the band clamps for the throttle body and then obviously the 2 intakes. That looks really, really good. Wow. I'm actually super impressed, especially because the bands are matte black. One thing I was a little disappointed about is that they didn't get the powder coating underneath where that was in the beginning when it was open, but I'm trying not to get that to show, obviously, for these, but it's gonna be a little bit harder for the throttle body and the intake clamps because I want those accessible, but we will try our best. About an hour after struggling on the last clip, like I showed you guys, I put all the clamps on first. That's completely wrong. You need to do this side, undo these 2 bolts because you can move the airbox up, and then you get this side. So got these 2 on because it's extremely tight. As you can see, it's kind of smushed right here. Hopefully this doesn't gouge into that eventually, but who knows. And then you put this side on. So, and I also had to do this catch can because this hose was faulty, my old one. So we got that all good. It's all good to go. We tightened all the clamps down. I tried to my best to hide all of this stuff, but looks pretty good. Mass airflows are connected and everything's tightened back down. So we're gonna give this thing a start and rip it around to see if the whine increased like a Hellcat. Just got back from Mexico, and I know you guys saw those clips of me in Mexico ripping back and forth on the strips of Mexico. Really nice. Not much out there in Mexico, very just cornfields and stuff. But anyways, you definitely can hear the whine when you rev. When I drove past, flew past, I know it's super, super hard to hear it because obviously the exhaust is extremely loud. We've got the headers and then with the AWE switch path exhaust, so it's super, super loud. So it's definitely hard to hear on video. I can tell you guys from my personal perspective, like in the driver's seat, at a 3,000 RPMs exactly on the money, you can definitely hear more of the supercharger whine and the air getting sucked in, and the more of the supercharger like rotors spinning. So you can definitely 100% hear it. Like I said earlier, this carbon fiber intake really projects the sound of the rotors, the air getting sucked in, and the whine, and it just projects it out way more. And what you can also do to project this whine even more with the carbon fiber intake is you get the open Whipple competition air boxes. Now you do lose a little bit of performance while you're kind of idling, sitting at like a light or the staging lanes at the drag strip, because it does suck in a little bit of hot air. But as soon as you get that flowing, the air spins around in the open intake box and kicks it out, because there's a little, it's totally for a different video, but it kicks it out and it cools it down way more and way faster and sucks in way more air when you're moving. Right now, we're just gonna leave it as is. Maybe in the future we'll get that, but right now, I'm happy how it is right now, and it definitely did increase the whine. Oh yeah, and by the way, we did polish the carbon fiber intake and this too, and we gave it a little layer of ceramic coating, so it looks way better. Super, super happy with how it came out after a little bit of buffing. But if you do end up getting this from VMP, you might have to buff it a little bit. If you know how to buff it out a little bit, super easy. You could just tell it's much more deeper, everything else. So it looks phenomenal, sounds great. You can definitely hear it way more than the rubber stock intake. So let me know what you guys think. It looks phenomenal, it sounds phenomenal, and definitely increases the air volume going into the supercharger itself. So it's a win-win. I did have a little bit of issues with the quality of it, just because like earlier in the video there were some scratches and stuff, but that all came out with a little bit of polishing and buffing. Nothing crazy at all. Took like 5 minutes, not even. So let me know what you guys think. I definitely recommend you check it out, and yeah, stay tuned for the next video.